Newspapers are going through dire times. And I think the problem is they're calling themselves newspapers. By defining themselves by their means of production and distribution, they've limited themselves horribly. The cost structure that used to make them very powerful, I own the press, you don't, is now a cost structure that has become an albatross around their necks. And I believe, somewhat controversially, that newspapers should rush as fast as they can past their old era and into the new era, and even turn off their presses and go fully online. Now, that will not operate as the old business models did. Well, the discussion we hear now is how can we transfer elements of an old model to a new world? We can't. News is going to look very, very different. I believe it will be more of a network, not owned by one company, but made up of lots of independent players. Some may be former journalists who start their own businesses. Some may be bloggers who now perform journalism in their communities. Some may be volunteers. Some may be supported by foundations who want investigations to continue. All this will add up, I think, to a new ecosystem of journalism. Now, how will it get supported? Well, for one thing, I believe that advertising will be the primary support. However, the advertising will be cheaper because there's now much more competition. There isn't a monopoly in towns. I also think we'll find some small level of public support, like public radio in the US. I think we'll find a lot of volunteer efforts. But the other truth is that news will become more efficient. The idea that every city had to have a newspaper that replicated the same functions is not going to be the case anymore, because now the news is a link away. And so a news organization can do what they do best and link to the rest. Add that all up, and I think we see a network, an ecosystem of news with many players that is smaller in each piece, but larger in aggregate and more efficient. And I hope we try to learn how to get there sooner than later. The longer we try to delay that inevitable change, the more I think we risk putting papers out of business. The sooner we try to experiment with new models, the sooner we can reinvent news for a new age.